haven't gotten the necessary wins, but you look at the Raiders, the Chargers. Then the Raiders take on the Broncos. Then they got the Chiefs again in Las Vegas. They got the Falcons, the Jets, the Colts, which will be a tough one. The Chargers again, the Dolphins. Then they end with the Broncos. So their schedule, for the most part, is pretty favorable for them to make the playoffs, whether it's to win the division or a wild card spot. Again, as long as you get in the playoffs, that's all it takes. And then you hit. Look at Tennessee, look at Kansas City, look at those teams from a year ago.
In the AFC, Jay's list, as I mentioned, considerably smaller. Key's got 4 teams. Jay has 2. Pittsburgh and Kansas City. Jay, how about the rationale, and why no Baltimore?
I just think those 2 teams are the cream of the crop, and as I've listened to Key and a lot of other experts, I know Key loves when I listen to experts, watching Lamar Jackson and watching him not progress to the next level this year, that concerns me. And I ultimately, I do wonder, I just feel like Lamar Jackson and company do not have enough in the tank to beat Kansas City. Like, they have their number. They have their number. I don't believe in the Ravens and the Raiders. They're too inconsistent for me. Those are the 2 consistent teams that I think come each and every day to play.
And those would be, in Jay's mind, Pittsburgh and Kansas City. Let's go to the NFC, Key. Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Seattle, and Green Bay. I think a lot of people listening, wherever they are, in their cars, at home, I think they're nodding their head saying that seems just about right.
It does. It is about right. Not necessarily in that order. It's just those are the 4 teams. The New Orleans Saints get Michael Thomas back hopefully this weekend against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football. They'll certainly show what they have. We looked at it in week 1, and it's week 1 for Tom Brady. He'll get better. Of course he's going to get better. That is the case with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The New Orleans Saints will continue to get better as they get their top weapon back. 149 receptions for Michael Thomas a year ago. You can't continue to lean heavy on Alvin Kamara because you need other players to be able to do something. Seattle, obviously, we know what that is with Russell Wilson. Their defense seems to continue to get better. And then when you look at the Green Bay Packers, if they would have made any sort of major trade, they probably could have helped the receiving corps, but they needed to shore up the defense on the linebacker side. Shut up, Jay Will.
I didn't even say anything.
You're saying I'm going too long. I get it.
No, I wasn't saying anything. I was just, hearing you on Green Bay in the trade, and I'm just imagining if Aaron Rodgers had Will Fuller, just somebody else.
I trade meaning on the defensive side. They need a linebacker.
They need a lot.
We definitely don't want Jay to shut up. This is his time to talk. And by the way, we need to get you guys back on the same page. And the best way to do this is to say, Jay, your NFC teams exactly match Key's.
Yeah, Key just wants me to shut up and dribble. I get it.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. Here's what I will say. In this order, Tampa Bay Bucs, I have Seattle, and obviously Russell Wilson has had a phenomenal year, leading MVP voting. I get all that, but I think their defense is going to take another step when Carlos Dunlap comes back, Jamal Adams comes back. Mm-hmm. Then you have New Orleans. I'm still waiting for Key to tell me when Michael Thomas is going to come back. I mean, I every single day, I keep asking questions, and I get no answers. Family protects family. I get it. And then Green Bay, just because after seeing Dalvin Cook run for as many yards as he ran last weekend and seeing him go for 4 TDs, their defense needs a lot of help. And I just hate to say it. Aaron Rodgers, 36 MVP caliber level, he's not going to get the help offensively in the side of the ball that he needs to have in order for them to win the Super Bowl.
Okay, so Key, Jay just ranked them Tampa Bay, Seattle, New Orleans, Green Bay. That's his 1, 2, 3, 4. You have those 4 teams.
Yeah.
Why don't you rank them? Because I do feel it could be razor thin. There's a lot of talent at the top of the NFC.
Well, I'm going with New Orleans as 1.
Okay, so that Jay has them at 3.
I'm assuming,
right?
I'm assuming Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders will be back before the end of the season. Mm-hmm. And if they don't hurry up and get back, that New Orleans will figure out a way to continue to keep winning. I'll make that 1. I'll make Seattle my 2. I'll make Tampa Bay my 3 and Green Bay my 4.
We should mention Michael Thomas. Obviously, there's a situation with when he'll return, and Sanders has a COVID-related issue he's dealing with.
Yeah, the situation when he will return is medical. So let's make sure we get the listeners to understand it's medical.
Gotcha.
What's putting Tampa Bay at number 3?
Because the other 2 teams are better.
That easy?
To me, yeah. It's that easy to me.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. Right now, just to reel it off, if you're just tuning in, Key's Super Bowl contenders across the board. The Steelers, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Raiders, the Bucs, the Saints, the Seahawks, the Packers. Jay's list noticeably smaller. the Steelers, the Chiefs. That's it in the AFC. And then he matches key in the NFC with the Bucs, the Saints, the Seahawks, and the Packers, who will kick off week 9 of the NFL season tonight against the San Francisco 49ers. And we saw with Aaron Rodgers, once they come off a loss this year, as Rodgers said, maybe we needed the swift kick in the you-know-what. They bounce back big time. As Jay mentioned earlier this morning, they're coming off a loss to the Vikings, a stunning loss to the Vikings. We'll see how they bounce back tonight. Sample size says that when the Packers get whipped, they come back pretty good and whip the competition. Keyshawn, J. Will, Zubin, presented by Progressive Insurance. All of our guests joining us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and that includes Trevor Maddich. Let's talk a little college football.
Notre Dame's excellent and not going to just tiptoe through the lilies and beat these guys.
We've won 22 consecutive games at home.
Trevor will not be able to play. You just have to have the next guy ready to go.
We're looking at winning the conference championship.
Our number one goal is to try to win the conference.
Who knows? It might not be the only time we play them this year.
That last statement is the juiciest of all from Brian Kelly, Notre Dame's head coach this year. Notre Dame is eligible to play in the ACC championship game, and what Coach Kelly is inferring there is perhaps Clemson and Notre Dame, who meet this Saturday in South Bend, will meet again December 19th in the ACC title tilt, and maybe, just maybe, the winner will go to the college football playoff to try to win a championship. A guy that's won a championship in college, Trevor Maddich, part of that legendary BYU championship team in the mid-'80s. He joins us this morning on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. We saw DJ Uiagalelei come in for Trevor Lawrence, had a rough first half, Trev, but then acquitted himself quite well in the second half. I know this is a road game. There's not going to be many fans there, but this is a different environment on the road in a top 4 clash when he was in high school not too long ago. What can we expect from him this weekend? This isn't Boston College. This is Notre Dame.
Zubin, you're absolutely right about that. And he passed his test with flying colors, in my opinion, against Boston College. But Notre Dame will be a different animal. They've got better personnel. It's a road trip. And Notre Dame's defense has a full game to watch what Uiagalelei likes and what he doesn't like. And really what he likes more than anything else is his fastball. I mean, he wants to wind up and let that thing fly. It's amazing the velocity on that pass. But what that means is that if you put a defender between the quarterback and the receiver, that forces him to make a more complex throw. Maybe throw it over that defender, drop it in, a little more touch. He showed that a couple of times against Boston College, but I think Notre Dame will make him show that a lot more. Now, having said that, what impressed me the most, Zubin, about him against BC was his decision-making. He stayed engaged in the game. BC tried to rattle him with blitzes that they didn't even attempt to disguise. And for the most part, he did a really good job staying focused on what he needed to focus on, which is downfield, and not what most young quarterbacks would do, and that is fixate on the blitz and try to escape.
Trevor Lawrence as well will travel with the team to South Bend, Indiana. What good is it to have him stand on the sidelines with the team? What can he add?
You know, that's a good question. I know that if he travels and stands on the sideline, it will be because he's negative. But if I'm on that sideline with him, I am distancing from him. I don't want him near me because I am not sure about that. Now, I'm not saying he's contagious in any way, but to me, it would be a bit of a distraction. The thing that he would be able to add is for the young quarterback. He's another set of eyes that can watch what's happening and then talk to DJ in between the series and give him an extra voice of counsel beyond just the coach. And sometimes when a player does that, it hits home because the player comes at it from a slightly different perspective. So my opinion is that the reason they're having him there is to try to maximize what DJ Uiagalelei is able to visualize and accomplish mentally.
The Pac-12's My Conference starts back up this weekend. What are we expecting to see from My Conference, the Pac-12?
Absolutely no earthly idea, Keyshawn. No idea what's going to happen out there. But that's part of the fun of it. I mean, the Pac-12 to me has always been one of the most fun conferences to watch because there's such a diversity of style.